Afriforum. Nah, we are not responsible. What are you talking about? We are not responsible of anything, bro. What are you talking about, bro? Yes, we went to America, but we are not responsible. Let's get to the video. Please like the video. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Let's go.
Firstly, I'd like to just start here. Do you feel at all responsible for the demise, if I may call it that, of the U.S.-South African relationship, essentially that has affected us greatly, economically so even?
No, not at all. In fact, quite the contrary. We must remember what the timelines are here. On the 2nd of February, President Trump made his first social media post referring to the threat to property rights and farm murders. And we knew exactly what the consequences would be if those issues are not addressed. And that is why we went to the US after that post and made a plea to the US administration not to punish the country for the irresponsible behavior of the ANC. The fact is, the ANC is, of course, and people are falling for this, they don't want to take responsibility for the consequences of their own negative behavior. They now need a scapegoat. But if you go and have a look at, long before we went to the US, in the House of Representatives, there was a bill asking for the review of relationship with South Africa. And the stuff mentioned there, it was former Minister Naledi Pandor visiting Iran, and a number of other issues. We did not go to Iran. We did not sign the Expropriation Act. We are not the ones refusing to condemn the Kill the Boer chant. It's the irresponsible behavior of ANC leaders. And our approach has been, let's solve this. The ANC decided, let's use denialism. And now we see that strategy has failed, and we are all reaping the bitter fruits of that. But we are still, we have proposals on this, how this should be solved, and hopefully sanity will prevail.
Now, you're calling this not misinformation, and yet multiple local and international researchers, including the SAPS crime data, have debunked the notion of white genocide. Why continue promoting a narrative that has been repeatedly discredited?
That is another lie being spread by the ANC. The fact is, those media institutions that accused us of spreading the white genocide narrative, we took them to the press ombudsman, and already 5 of those institutions had to apologize to us. We never use that terminology. Our stance is quite clear. The Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer chant, calling for the killing of Afrikaners on an ethnic basis, is a genocidal call. But we never said there's genocide. All we're asking from government is, and the president, condemn this call, acknowledge the fact that we are seeing tortures that accompany these murders, and declare it a priority crime. And in the country, priority crime doesn't mean it's more important. It says there needs to be a specific strategy. Even rhino poaching in this country is seen as a priority crime. Gang violence is seen as a priority crime, rightfully so. And that is what we want. Then with regard to expropriation, the president himself has now acknowledged that Section 19.2 of the Expropriation Act is unconstitutional. Unfortunately, Section 12.3 that allows for expropriation without that. And we have seen what happens elsewhere, in Zimbabwe, Venezuela, when you have these kind of clauses. So what we are doing to fight this, because we've seen what happened to the people of Zimbabwe. The poor, everybody suffers. The economy is destroyed. So what we are doing to fight against this Expropriation Act is loyalty to the country. Those promoting that, putting their party interest and ideology above the interest of the country are disloyal. So we are doing the right thing, and we can find solutions if we have a government that does not make themselves guilty of denial.
But now the question is doing the right thing for who? But let's take it a step back. Let's take it a step back.
For everybody.
No, I would beg to differ. But let's take it a step back. Why are you asking the president to intervene in something that the highest court in the land has already settled? Is Afriforum suggesting that its opinion
poor children, and if they hear somebody chanting, kill the Boer, kill the farmer, it's not fun. It doesn't matter what the court says. If kill the Boer, kill the farmer is going to harm the country's economy, when the rest of the world condemns this, then it's not fine. So we have an obligation to do the right thing, and this is not an acceptable chant. Just back to your point, it's not in the interest of all. I don't have land. I don't own property. But the Expropriation Act will also harm me, because we've seen in Zimbabwe, when you have disrespect for property rights, you have hyperinflation, growing joblessness, that affects all. So we are fighting for the interest of the country. And the ANC is working against the people of this country, and we've seen that now with how they've been corrupt, how they've plundered the state, and we oppose that. To ask that somebody should not chant kill the Boer, kill the farmer, is asking that we should stop the kind of polarization in the country that we are seeing because of this. That is in the interest of all. So it's a fallacy that we are working only in our own interest. Of course, I want to make sure my children have a future, but at the same time, we need to make this country work. And we have to do that by not having responsible policies that will bring high punitive tariffs against us. We fought against this many times. If you look at our documents, it's open documents in the US, we have consequently asked, do not punish the country. Put pressure on the government to get rid of the policy of expropriation without compensation.
But let's be absolutely factual. The slaughtering of white Afrikaners has been debunked. I mean, the fact that you are still here, that millions of Afrikaners are still here, that white billionaires are still here, doesn't that prove that there is no genocide? How do you claim slaughter when the victims are not even trying to escape?
Well, you use the term genocide again. That is not the words we use. It is a reality that people are being tortured. 2 weeks ago, an elderly lady boiling water was thrown over. We've seen an electric drill being used to drill a hole into an elderly lady's feet. We've seen blowtorches used. It does not mean that if you take on those issues, that you don't care about the rest of the crime problem. We do care. If we as an organization, is probably the NGO that has done in practical terms the most to fight gender-based violence with Karinel and his team, taking on men that does that. But if we do that, we don't say that violence against men is okay. And that is our stance, to say there are people being killed, disproportionately so. Remember, farmers are a small number, so the numbers would be dramatically smaller. But if you look at this proportionality, it needs to be addressed.
Yes, but and let's talk about addressing that. I mean, if this is genuinely about farm murders and violence, why is Afriforum so quiet about cases of violence and killings of black farmers by white farmers? We've seen convictions and headlines from the 2017 coffin assault to reports of farm workers forced to eat fishes to cases where black men were fed to lions. Why doesn't Afriforum ever speak publicly about these victims?
It seems that you haven't been following our statements. We have condemned this all along, but white farmers are not killing black farmers, as you've said. In fact, our neighborhood watchers also protect the whole community. We have black farmers that are part of our neighborhood watchers. So the few cases that you mentioned are horrible, but are we now saying, and we condemn them, but are you saying, because that's happening, we cannot have a serious problem when somebody openly says, kill the Boer, kill the farmer, when the president of this country that has a responsibility refuses to even condemn it? There was research done. 67% of the people in this country think the president should condemn it. He's willing to jeopardize the economy of the country simply to stick to whatever ideology and his own party's interest.
No, but Kelly, does Afriforum actually respect the authority of South Africa's courts and the judgments they hand down?
Well, if you have a judge that was openly biased towards us, that said we have anachronistic ideas. She refuses to excuse herself. She was in the process of applying for a job in the appeals court. The people on the Judicial Service Commission, is Julius Maleva and Advocate Nkukai Tobe, both involved in that case. After she gave a judgment in their favor, she was appointed in that position. We cannot be quiet about that. Fortunately, the vast majority of judges in this country are fair, but we cannot accept that the chance should be made that we should be killed on the basis of our ethnicity. And that we will continue to fight. If we say, well, the court says it's fine, then that is exactly why we are going internationally, because we are not protected in this regard by the court.
But now, does Afriforum's plight stand against the transformation of an entire nation who has, as you know, has been historically dismembered, butchered, and the majority of the people of this country are not even the ones that actually benefit from the country itself?
No, well, I think you should not equate the leadership and the political elite with the people of this country. What we've seen in transformation policies, only a few benefit again and again. We see corruption. We are in favor of addressing inequalities with regard to all the people in the country. And to be able to do that, we need to respect property rights. Otherwise, the poverty is just going to increase. Those that want to increase inequality or only look after their own pockets don't care if the economy suffers because they have enriched themselves through corruption. And we will continue to fight for that. And that is in favor of the people, for the country, against those things that are irresponsible.
I don't know what do you think about that. Is Afriforum responsible? Should Afriforum apologize? Should Afriforum actually say, listen, we are wrong, we were wrong, yeah, you know, there's no genocide, blah, blah. He argues to say, listen, we never said there's genocide. We never said there's genocide. You guys, you just came up with this thing. We never said that. Okay, anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel.